active members of the BRI for many years. As a matter of fact, I would like to take the opportunity here today to thank all our Chinese partners that have walked with us across this more than a decade to develop the Belt and Road projects across the world. And as a matter of fact, this is the 10th year anniversary of the BRI initiative, but for us, a company that has its root originally in Kazakhstan, for us the Belt and Road Initiative started earlier. We actually built the first Belt and Road project about 15 years ago, the aluminium smelter in Kazakhstan, which today is the only aluminium smelter in Kazakhstan. And it was in fact President Xi Jinping, in 2013, during his visit to Kazakhstan, he announced the Belt and Road project, which for us has always been a reality. In a way, the Belt and Road Initiative has really given life to a history of cultural exchanges that date back 2,000 years, and has really been inspired now more than 115 countries to work together to improve the state of the world. And yes, it has been originally an idea that developed in China, but the benefits have been very global. So for us, really, 10 years are a true testament to the success of BRI. China, I believe, since then has signed with its partners more than 200 agreements, invested over $1 trillion. And what people don't always appreciate is that the initial investment in a Belt and Road project typically triggers secondary and tertiary investments that are not directly associated with the initial investment. And we've seen this in the operation areas where we work in Central Asia, in Africa, in South America, where infrastructure has to be expanded to unlock resources. And as President Xi Jinping put it, building high-quality, sustainable, risk-resistant, reasonably priced, that's also important, and inclusive infrastructure to help countries fully utilize their resource endowments. And we've benefited from this over the last 10 and actually 15 years.
Oh, it's a long time. And let's talk about the upcoming conference. What are your expectations for it to further accelerate the development of BRI?
Well, first of all, for me personally, it is a wonderful opportunity to reconnect with my old friends from China, because I spent some time in the university here, as you might know. I've written a book about China, so I have very, very close personal relationships in China and friendships that have developed over these last 2 decades. But of course, the conference itself, I remember when we started 10 years ago, it was an important conference, but today we're talking about 140 countries that are represented here, 30 to 40 international organizations. I mean, this is the week to be in China and not anywhere else, so this is very important for us. And of course, in terms of outcomes, we as a company, as the Eurasian Resources Group, we will be signing several agreements here that are in execution, projects that are being actually developed and deployed today in Africa, in South America, in Central Asia. So we have a very strong interest in this conference itself. But of course, it will also help us. The conference will give guidance on how to coordinate policy across the world as the world becomes increasingly fragmented and supply chains become increasingly fragmented. We will hopefully see more investment promotion, because projects that are targeted at infrastructure, and particularly sustainable infrastructure, they are long-term projects. They take time to develop, they take time to invest and construct. So you cannot, because the atmosphere or the mood or the environment may change, you do not stop. Because what you start, you have to continue for the next 10 to 15 years. That's the nature of the typical Belt and Road green sustainable projects. They have to be long-term. And that's why it's so important that the investment promotion is also as a conversation about sustainability, transparency, environmental impact, and long-term sustainability of international cooperation in infrastructure development and technology.
Let's talk about you're going to sign a few agreements, and that is quite a vote of confidence in the future of the development of BRI. However, the world today is also facing a lot of challenges, such as rising protectionism, such as trade system. How should BRI respond to all those new challenges here?
For us, BRI has always been about partnerships. It has not been about creating an alternative or creating something that is in opposition to an existing framework of investment, of development in the world. It's always been complementary for us. So this is important, because when you want to develop sustainable infrastructure, it is important that countries cooperate, right? These are typically very large projects that have a long-term investment horizon, and you have to cooperate. So, but it has to go much beyond this. It has to be not just investments or shovels, developing bridges and ports and mining projects and oil and gas projects and whatever, wind farms. But this is also as much about cultural exchanges, it's about partnerships, it's about long-term cooperation and mutual benefit for all parties involved. And that includes as well the communities that also need to benefit from these investments. This is beyond just the political aspect or the diplomatic aspect. Is also about increasing and improving livelihoods, which China has shown over the last 40 years since its opening up, has lifted more people out of poverty than any country in the history of the world. And that is something the world can learn from.
Mm-hmm. And you also talk about sustainability, which is also a very important area of the BRI to focus on in the future. So how will your company work with the BRI project in promoting sustainability, and how do you plan to leverage BRI to meet these sustainability goals?
For ERG, as a very large mining company, we have over 85,000 people in 18 countries. Sustainability is at the core of what we do, because the nature of our business depends on the social license to operate in the countries where we work and invest. And that's very important to us.